Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Heat's Bam Adebayo makes Tyler Herro sad puppy joke after injury return. Miami Heat star Tyler Herro returned to the lineup Friday against the Houston Rockets as he missed the last 20 games prior due to a nagging foot injury. After the game, Heat star center Bam Adebayo talked about Herro and his eagerness to get back on the floor as he jokingly compared him to a sad puppy, according to Ira Winderman of the Sun-Sentinel. "He was like a sad puppy when he couldn't play," Adebayo said with a smile. "So it's good to have him over there smiling." All jokes aside, there's no doubt that Herro was aching to get back out with his Heat teammates as he was dealing with right foot medial tendinitis, where his last game was February 23 in the win against the New Orleans Pelicans. Herro admitted after his return that it was frustrating to not be active and sit down. "It was just frustrating to just sit down and not be able to be active and traveling and doing my routine," Herro said. "I'm a big workout guy. I love to work out and stay on top of my game, and it's tough to do that when I just had to rest." In the win against the Rockets, Herro came off the bench, looked like he never had an injury as he scored 17 points, recorded 6 assists, and collected 5 rebounds. Looking back at the timeline, he thought taking the week off after the aforementioned Pelicans game would be enough, but it wasn't, which led to him taking a platelet-rich plasma injection to ramp up his recovery. "I took a week off when we got back from the West Coast trip," Herro said, "hoping that that was going to be enough for me to come back, and it wasn't. I ramped up, and then ultimately that's what made us decide to get the PRP shot, because the rest wasn't cutting it. So the PRP shot was kind of bringing it some extra reinforcement, to kind of hopefully release some pressure on the tendon," Herro continued. "And I was able to do that with some weeks of rest after the PRP shot. And, ultimately, that's what got me back on the floor, I think, trying to ramp up and get back every week, and then there's like a setback, and then eventually I just had to sit down and rest." Herro was in the midst of having one of the best seasons of his career as he is averaging 20.7 points, 4.4 assists, and 5.3 rebounds per game, which each metric is around his career high. However, injuries have plagued his season as, besides the 20-game absence, he missed most of November with a grade 2 right ankle sprain. Now he's back and ready to play in the Heat's most crucial games in the home stretch of the regular season and the postseason, wherever the team falls in the standings. He missed most of last season's miraculous playoff run due to a broken hand. "For competitors only," Herro said via the Sun-Sentinel. "That's what we preach, and that's what we want as NBA players, to be playing in games like that, games that mean something." Miami teammate and Jimmy Butler credits Herro for staying ready and being engaged with his team throughout his absence on the floor. Butler led the team with 22 points in the victory over the Rockets, which was necessary after the prior devastating loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. "He stayed ready," Butler said. "He stayed engaged and was still around the guys as often as he could be. And he came in and took off right where he left off." While Friday's performance was impressive, Herro is not used to coming off the bench as he's been a usual starter for the team this season. However, there is an understanding that because he missed the last 20 games and with the process of easing him back into the team 100% with the injury, the University of Kentucky product said he'll come off the bench for now. "I mean, look, there's 6 games left," Herro said. "I just missed 20 games. You know, it's hard to just implement me into the starting lineup at this point. Whatever SPO, Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra, decides to do is ultimately up to him. It's not an easy decision. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a starter in the league. But like I said, to come back with 6 games left, it's tough to just implement me into that lineup like that. But ultimately, I'm going to get starter minutes, and that's all that matters. You know, I'm a starter, but I'll come off the bench for now." The Heat are 43-34, which puts them 7th in the tightly packed Eastern Conference with 5 games left in the season. Sunday evening is arguably the most important contest as it will be against the Indiana Pacers, who are also in contention for the 6th seed as the winner decides the tiebreaker. Heat's Jimmy Butler drops truth bomb on controlling destiny versus Pacers. The Miami Heat prepare for arguably their most important game of the season Sunday evening as they take on the Indiana Pacers on the road. There are a ton of playoff seeding implications with this game as the two teams are fighting to obtain the last spot so they can get out of contention for the play-in tournament as stars Jimmy Butler, Tyler Herro, and head coach Erik Spoelstra give insight into the contest. Sunday's game has a lot at stake as mentioned before, as whoever wins will be 6th place in the Eastern Conference for now, gets the tiebreaker as each team has one win over another, and even the 3-team tiebreaker with the 76ers. It's important to mention that Miami still needs to win their remaining games after the outing against the Pacers, but getting a victory would put them in a good spot if the 3 teams tie each other in winning percentage. In a phrase that was mentioned by Kevin Love after the loss to the Philadelphia 76ers and again by Butler, they are in control of our own destiny according to Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel. It is more true than ever as winning out their final 5 games would put the Heat in a good spot as to avoid the play-in tourney, which they could not do last season. As we said all year long, Butler said, "We're always in control of our own destiny, and it's now that case more than ever." Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra mentioned before how the playoff race is a fun ride as it puts the team in a pre-playoff mode before they head into the postseason. It's a challenge of balancing out all the emotions and staying the course, especially in the crucial game against the Pacers. "Look," Spoelstra said, "there's so many teams going through this. There's incredible lows, highs, a bunch of emotions in between, and you just have to stay the course. We have 5 more games left in this regular season. Obviously we have a big one in Indiana. While the focus is on Miami, the same reasons are valid for the Pacers as they look to protect home floor led by stars Tyrese Haliburton, Pascal Siakam, and others." Butler mentioned how much he loves this time of the year and what this single game means for both teams, as in their last 119-104 win against the Houston Rockets, he led the team and scored 22 points. "I love it," Butler said. "I love what this game means to them. I love what this game means to us. I love that they play so incredibly well at home. We've got to go in there and play damn near perfect basketball. We've got to play our style of basketball, we've got to play the right way, in order to take one of the road. But it's very possible." With the regular season coming to a close, it has been a roller coaster to say the least for Miami as they had to continually deal with injuries and inconsistencies in the lineup. Heat, Spurs emerge as potential landing spots for Bronny James. Bronny James' decision to declare for the 2024 NBA draft has raised so many eyebrows, especially from those people who are skeptical about his chance of being picked by an NBA team following a forgettable freshman campaign at USC. James, who averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists in 25 games at USC, also entered the transfer portal. This would provide a path for James to resume his college basketball career with a new program in case he pulls out from the NBA draft. In a recent story, Joseph Zuchner of Bleacher Report speculated that a plan may be in the works to get LeBron James' son into the NBA despite not being ranked among the top prospects in the next draft. The writer even mentioned that Bronny James' team might have backup plans in place if he falls to the second round or is not drafted at all. In terms of improving his draft position, staying in college is arguably James' best course of action. However, he might prefer falling to the second round or perhaps even going undrafted altogether. The former would lighten his expectations out of the gate, while he'd have more freedom in picking his next destination with the latte, writes Zuchner. Zuchner also addressed the elephant in the room when discussing Bronny James' destination in his article. Although Zuckner feels that Bronny teaming up with his father on the Lakers is a possibility, he also came up with 2 scenarios in which Bronny would still play in the NBA despite not being on the same team as his dad. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Bronny James? Leave your opinion in the comments.